I love it.
Except I finished it and you didn't.
Kind of did. Hello.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Ruin and Rising live show, where we are going to be talking with Jashana and Liene from Liene's library. The links for their channels will be linked down below in the description box, so make sure to check them out. And then I will also link the first two live shows that we did for Shadow and Bone and Siege and Storm down below as well. So this is the third and final book in the Grisha trilogy. We did it. We read them all prior to the series coming out next week. So excited. Let's start with overall thoughts. And this was a read for all of us. So I'm curious what you all rated this the first time you read it, and then what you rated it this time.
Jashana looks like she has feelings.
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember what I rated it the first time. I cannot recall. I need to look it up on Storygraph.
Thanks for joining.
Well, I can tell you, I rated it. Yeah, I rated it 5 the first time I read it and 3 this time.
Oh my god, for real?
Well, I think the first time, I was so relieved that Melina was endgame that I was like 5 stars. But this time, I knew they were, so I wasn't worried about it. I wasn't oh, they're not gonna end up together. I was like, I know they are, so let's pay attention to other stuff. And all the other stuff, I was like,
yeah,
whatever. Yeah, I gave it 3 the first time, and I think this time I gave it less than that. But
so this was not a good rereading experience, it sounds like, for both of you.
Yeah, it was fine. I can't remember. Did I give it 3? I might have given it 2.75. I need to double check, but
oh no.
Yeah, I feel like just mostly because I don't care about Melina. So all those moments of them being in love, I'm just ugh.
I feel like those moments hit me harder the first time I read it because I thought it was building to them not being together. And I was like, this will be the last time. This will be the only time. Oh no. And so this time I was like, oh, they'll be together. This is fine. Good. This is fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aww.
The ending annoyed me too also because I was like, okay, we go into hiding, but then we just go be together in an orphanage, and I have white hair. I look just like the Sun Summoner. I'm with this dude that lots of people saw me with. All these Grisha from the palace keep visiting. My friends keep visiting, and no one ever was like, huh. I wonder. I was just like, you guys are not hiding very well at all.
Suspicious. Yes. Yeah. No, that's fair. Now, I feel like I'm too lenient on this series.
I feel like they could have had a happy ending, but they could have gone to live in Novia Zem, farther away.
Oh. Yes. So
yeah. Oh no, I did. Oh, I gave this 3.25. Okay, because there was more.
Sounds so generous at this point.
Yeah, I was being generous. The ending was annoying, but yeah, there was more of the other characters that I like. So, and there was more fun and exciting stuff happening than the last book.
Yes.
So, what did you rate it, Jessie?
I loved it the first time. I gave it 5 stars, and this time I still loved it. I still had so much fun with it, but I almost feel like I'm being too lenient. Because I recognize that there were some things that I'm sure get into with the climax of this final epic battle, right, that we're building up towards. And I was kind of like, well, that was awfully easy. But
also made no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. The battle. It made no sense to me in the slightest. I was like, maybe I'm just dumb. The whole just the light, bending the light around us. But then I'm like, you walk into the fold and you put all this light, but then you're hiding your people, but there's still this huge bright light. Everyone would know oh, they're over there in this bright area of light, right? Isn't that what happened? They walked in and she just light everywhere, but I'm hiding everyone. But like, obviously, you're in the big ball of light.
Yeah,
Like, I guess it was to make it look like only she's in the ball of light, that she's by herself, that she doesn't have help. I guess.
Yes. But I'm like, I would just start opening fire in that general area of the sunlight.
I guess it was also to hide them from the Volcra.
Volcra.
The Volcra, yeah. And that was kind of like basically what happened, right? Because like I think that big ball of light was coming towards them, and they just shot at it, and they shot her. And it was like, well, that's over.
And then she's fine.
What plan was
it was just like a mess. Like the whole plan, I was like, I feel as though this is not well thought out at all.
Yeah, but by the time we got there, I was already just like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like the logic of Mal being good at tracking all animals because he's an amplifier, like that. Immediately, I'm like, I don't see the connection at all in that at all. And then the fact that they didn't figure it out until they were literally in front of the Firebird. Like you touched him a lot. Like every time you kissed him, like. Yeah. You should have figured this out a long time ago. Like,
why? Just because they were in front of the bird. Like they just like saw it in his eyes or something. Like, what do you?
That's true. I didn't even really think about that reveal not making a whole lot of sense. But now that you say it, it really doesn't.
If the previous two books had made a big deal of the fact that like they kept wanting to touch each other, but something always got in the way, like they just never actually managed to touch each other because like, you know, every time they kind of leaned in for it, something would interrupt them, or like she would always have a glove on, or like something somehow, if you went back and read through it all, you're like, wow, they really never did touch. You'd think they would have been, but they didn't. And then this one time they finally do, and they're like, you're the amplifier. But no, they've been touching this whole time.
They're grown up together. Yeah, no, that's true. I think I thought of it as what you were saying with Mal being the amazing tracker that he is because he's the amplifier. I didn't think of it as like he's the tracker, he's an amazing tracker because he's an amplifier. I was thinking he's an amazing tracker because he's a descendant of Morozova and like has this like blood in him that has such a deep connection to nature because of his bloodline.
But I mean, once he loses the magic part of being an amplifier, he's no longer able to track. So, like,
that's true.
It wasn't genetic.
That is true.
I also agree with this comment here from Urza. Him having to die made no sense if it worked when they were touching. I was like, just take off like a finger or something and like wrap that around your wrist. I don't know. Like,
we're also like, I mean, as soon as he held her hand to be like, okay, so I'm just going to stand next to you. You hold my hand and do your thing.
Yeah. No, but that wouldn't have been dramatic enough.
But then him also, okay, like if he has to die, then I also don't understand why he's not still dead. Like, okay, then he has to die, and he has to die. And that's how this
how did he come back? That wasn't really explained. I mean, they did some Tolia and
did the magic and brought him back. Was it supposed to be like their love brought him back? I don't really know. Because it was like he was dead. And then
there's like some line at the end where she's like, it was like he had two lives, like the lives of the life of the amplifier and then his own life. But I'm like, okay, but the stag and the sea thingy, they didn't get to like die as an amplifier, but live on as just a creature. Like, no, the super dead.
Right. Yes. Yeah. It was kind of like a little too tidy at the end with him getting to come back to life and all of them making it. I know we lost like Harshaw, but like, do we care? Like, it was a little tidy.
Barely.
And I had completely forgotten, which is so bizarre that I had completely forgotten this because I've read King of Scars, that Nikolai turns into the like monster thing. How did I forget that?
I mean, I do have questions. How did you forget that?
I read King of Scars.
Like that's what King of Scars is about.
That's like the whole point. That's why it's called the King of Scars. Like, what are you doing, Jessie? So yeah, I totally forgot about that.
I forgot about it too, but I have not read King of Scars yet.
You're excused, Jashana, but Jessie.
Like the entire book. Hello. Like, what was I thinking? What did I read?
Maybe you were just focusing on the Zoya and Nina parts, and you were like, Nikolai.
Yes. So that was like something. I guess like that was a big blow for everybody was Nikolai having to turn into the monster. And was it clear, like, when Alina finally killed Mal, well, when they like killed, they both kind of killed Mal.
When she stabbed
like,
Mal.
he was like holding her hand while she did it or something, right?
Assisted suicide is what I think that was.
Yeah.
Yes. So when that happened and Alina lost her powers and then everybody else had the light coming from them, was that what kind of released Nikolai from being forever condemned in that body?
Well, I think because also all of the other like shadow creatures that were made by the Darkling like kind of died.
They like
so then whatever shadow thing was like basically possessing Nikolai like died as well, or did it because it didn't really. So then I'm also like, why didn't it die in King of Scars?
Yes, let's see what people are saying. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah. The ending also with this was my complaint from the last book, kind of the whole series with Alina. The whole like, I get it, she's a good person. She has a moral compass and she just I don't like it though when it feels like this contrived whatever. And then the whole like, and this is like a trope, not just in this series, and it's one that I'm like, oh my God, when it happens, it just drives me nuts. The whole like, I need to do something terrible, like kill someone I love, in order to literally save everyone else. And I can't do it. I just do it. Like for real, like I get that it's hard. I'm not saying you should just be like, I don't care about you, stab. But like, don't be like, no.
To be fair, Jashana, that is what you wanted her to be like. You wanted her to be like, I don't care about you, stab.
No, I don't care about Mal. But she liked him. So like, okay, fine. I get having like, oh, this is difficult. But just do it still though. Like you still have to do it because otherwise.
Well, I mean, Mal's also
you're all gonna die.
Mal was agreeing to it. He is like, yeah, I gotta die. She's like, no.
But it's like if you don't, then literally everyone, and then he's gonna die anyways. Because
I think they argued about that later when she was with her like plan to be a hero. He's like, oh, so you get to martyr yourself, but I'm not allowed to die for this to be your amplifier. She's like, no. And he's like, okay.
Just it drives me nuts. That's why I love Lotta so much from
Oh my God,
Saga.
Okay, all three of us love the Conqueror Saga.
Yeah.
It's one
that series.
One series that brings us together.
I like that decisive type of character when like
agreed.
And I get, like I said, I'm not saying they need to be callous. I mean, Lotta's a little callous, but I'm not saying they all need to be as callous as Lotta is. But like when it comes down to the wire of this like really important thing, like you got to do what you got to do. And I don't need you to be like, no, I can't, to think you're a good person or a good character.
Spoilers for a video I filmed but haven't posted yet. That's a Rita Likes video where I was comparing Grisha trilogy to Catherine Arden's Winter Night trilogy. I was like, okay, like, I mean, I do definitely love Vasya better than Alina, and I low-key wish Alina was more like Vasya. I would like that a lot better.
I love Vasya. Yeah, I will say Alina did have quite a lot of growth from the first book. I noticed kind of after binging this series.
So did Mal.
And so did Mal. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if you think about where Alina started and how, like in our first live show, we were like, can you just have like a little bit of confidence? Like, can you have a little bit of competency? Like, know what you're doing? Like, want to take control of the situation? And then, I mean, in this book, like she really did kind of step up to the plate. She had been fully intending on marrying Nikolai, I think, and like being queen of this realm, even though she like knew that wasn't like in her heart what she really wanted. She just knew that was kind of best. So I gotta give her credit. Like she did grow, I think, throughout the series quite a bit, even if it was still like not quite enough. But I think she had like a good arc over this series. I'm gonna give her credit. So I like Alina.
Cool. I think she's just kind of bland and stuff, but I don't I don't hate her.
Honestly, like it's almost like it's Nikolai's charm is contagious because Alina is the most interesting and fun when she's giving Nikolai back as good as he gives. Like, you're like, oh, so you do like have a personality under there. It just takes Nikolai to bring it out of you. Because when you're around Mal, you're just like, Mal.
That's so
Mal's
true.
the same way. Like, that's the thing too. Like at the beginning of the first book, I was like, wait, Mal is kind of charming and like fun.
Yeah.
I like him, but he's only like that with other people. And then as soon as he's around Alina or they're like in their like drama, he's just like, meh.
Okay,
like,
well,
mad
here
all
we
the time.
go. We got to talk about Mal now because I feel like this is everybody's been talking about whether they're a Melina stan or not. Mal in this book, Jashana, have you?
What's your problem with him in this book?
Yes,
Tell us.
I'd love to know your thoughts.
Care
on
about them. I don't buy it. I don't care about them. I don't know why I'm supposed to care about their like epic love when I'm like, it was based on nothing. They were friends for a long time and like had feelings for each other secretly, and then like I never saw them build the cute like building up of the foundation of the romance moments.
Mm-hmm.
It was just
but
like
Mal didn't do anything to piss you off in this one, did he? Because he didn't.
I'm sure he did at some point, but I can't remember. I don't have the book right by me. I could probably find it. I probably tabbed stuff, but the book's in the other room. But I don't remember anything big that he did. But yeah, I just don't care about their freaking love. I'm like, this is based in every time I've seen them together in this series, they're like morose and sad and like, but I love you. And I'm like, but why? You don't have personalities when you're together. And I just don't buy this epic love.
I was like in school, like the emo kids that are like a couple and sitting at their own table at lunch, but they don't talk to each other. They just like sit really silently next to each other, but like have to be together for all time, but never smile, never talk.
Yeah. And I mean, I definitely don't, for anyone watching, I'm not a Dark Lena stan either. I don't ship her with the Darkling either. Like, I would ship her with Nikolai, except I think he's too good for her.
Yeah.
But like, if I had to pick someone for her to have ended up with, I would have preferred Nikolai over either of the other two options.
Yeah. I have to say that when I looked at my original review for this book, I had forgotten that I actually had liked Mal by the end of this series. And I guess it was because when I just like look back on it, not having read it for 6 years, I just remembered him more from the first 2 books really bothering me. But I will say this third book, he was finally winning me over, and it was more of because he was finally accepting that Alina had to be her own person and she had to be independent from him to be fully happy. Like he finally let her go to be happy, even if he was sacrificing his own happiness for her. Like he wanted her to be.
Well, yeah. There's a line in it where he says about something like, I can't give you what you deserve, but I'm going to fight to make sure that you have what you deserve. Like, I'll lay down my life for that.
Like, in the first 2 books, he kept holding her back because he had this idea of what he wanted with her, and that wasn't what was good for her. But in this book, I feel like he finally kind of accepted, like, she needs this. This is what she needs from me, and this is what I'm going to give her because I want to be good enough, and she needs to shine. And I was like, no, that okay, like I can get behind that. Like if you're finally gonna let her like be happy and like even.
But I also did love like the moments where like he said to her too that like he's decided to like let go of the idea of them being together because he knows that's not a reality. But he's also like, but please don't make me pretend that this is easy. Like don't flirt with me. Don't like do this because like I'm trying to like do the right thing here. I am trying really hard and it's not easy. So please stop making it harder. Please stop acting like this is possible because I've accepted that it's not. I need you to do the same. Like, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, like I was like, okay, like I can get behind this. And I liked that, you know, at the end, I mean, it was a little, I think we all agree that it was like a little too tidy to clean up after the epic showdown. But I mean, it makes sense how they could finally be together because she no longer had to be obligated to I don't know, she didn't owe Ravka anything else, and she could just do what she wanted to do inside her heart, and that was be with Mal. And I was like, okay, like I get it. I get it now. Like, it may not be like my favorite romance ever. I do agree. I think it would have been more fun if she had ended up with Nikolai, because I think they brought out a more playful side of each other that was more fun to see from a reading perspective. But I don't know. I like understood her and Mal finally by the end. So, yeah,
That's good.
I get it.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but I don't love it.
I was gonna say, like, the characters is kind of what makes a series good. Like, the magic and the story like falls apart quite quickly. Like, so like I feel like people love this series because, you know, like they like Nikolai, they like Zoya, they possibly like Mal and Alina, they enjoy the Darkling, but like the actual like how Grisha magic works and how these amplifiers works and how the climax works, you're just like, let's not think too much about that. It doesn't really make any sense. We're here to watch the characters like joke and have drama and backstab each other and like that.
Yes. And I am gonna say that yes, this was very disappointing.
Oh, you know what it reminded me of?
Before. Like,
yes.
hello?
But like also this, like, because I obviously the first time I read these books was like just a couple years ago, but now having seen all of Game of Thrones, this was Arya stabbing like the Night King.
Oh my
and
god!
Just being like, it's over. Like, what?
It totally was.
It was. Oh man.
Oh my god, it was so easy. What was that? That was so weird. It was almost like, I think it was easy. I was trying to like think like, what? Why was that it? Maybe it's because when the Darklings finally realized like it was over, and everyone had the light coming out of them, and Alina had stabbed Mal, and all that had happened, and he saw the fold like kind of just crumbling around him. Maybe he was like, I'm done fighting. Like, I'm done. And he had realized, like, this is it for me. And so maybe it was because he was accepting it at that point. He had lived for so long. He had been fighting for so long. And
I think also, as from like the writing standpoint, I think the choice to do that was to kind of make it be like, you think it's going to take something epic to take someone down to take down the epic villain. And then like when it comes down to it, it's like actually the simple as stabbing them. You know, like I feel like a lot of stories have done that where like you think it's going to be this big thing and you feel like it should be. And then it comes down to this like one moment where you just like right place, right time, you had the knife and you did it. And like that is what actually brought the whole thing down, you know? So I think that was kind of like the vibe of how that has happened, like in order to like specifically and on purpose make it actually a simple death.
Yeah.
You guys see Alan's
comment? Alan, get out of here. You are going to be spoiled and you have to read this.
Casperker is not in this book, Alan. Get out of here.
Oh my god.
Still thinks the Volcra are the Grisha.
Funny.
But also, okay, but because like they don't really like, I mean, they don't really coexist in the books. Well, him and Nikolai a bit, but like I'm hoping in the show we get Kaz and the Darkling, like, and Kaz completely outsmarting the Darkling and just like tapping him on the head with his cane. You dum dum.
Oh my god. It's gonna be so interesting if we get to see the crows intermingle with these characters, because you're right, Liene. Like I think the best part of this series is the characters, and it's all the rest of it. We
also have objective proof that Kaz is smarter than the Darkling because he's not 1,000 years old, and he immediately figured out who Nikolai is when he met him, and the Darkling didn't figure that out for his entire life.
Yeah, right.
It's true. I like Mariana's comment. And I agree. I think I would have cared about the romance more had we also seen like from Mal's POV and like heard some, because all we're seeing is hers. And like I said, I just didn't feel like it was developed better or like as well as I wanted it to be. I just didn't.
Well, I continued because like I do like Mal, but so like even more so by the end, I was just like, I feel like you deserve happiness, Mal, but Alina is so boring. Like, why are you dying for her?
She's just there.
Is she worth it? Is she?
Yeah. I don't know that she is.
Like, she seems nice, but like, can you build a life on nice?
A lot of people do. So I guess. Sounds terrible.
That's true. I do think it'll be really interesting seeing the series, because I do think the series has the opportunity to potentially be better than the Grisha trilogy in a lot of people's minds.
Absolutely think it's going to be.
Yeah, because
I don't love it.
I think that they're gonna be able to like show us Mal's perspective.
It's not that we need to have Mal's perspective, it's that we need to not hear Melina, or I keep calling her Melina because that's the shit name, but her internal monologue, she's the one that is like, he's not interested in me. She's the one that's like, I'm so pathetic. She's the one that's like, he'll never, and when you find, anytime you do get a glimpse of Mal's thoughts on things when he voices them, he's like, I mega had a crush on you when we were kids, but we were friends, so thought that would be kind of weird. And it's like, I've been kind of super into you, but you didn't seem into me. And like, you're great and whatever. And like, it's all in her own head that she's like, he'll never see me. Like, as long as you don't hear her thinking that, we're good.
No, that's true. That's true. Because I feel like a lot of people's like biggest gripe with the series is being in Alina's head the whole time. Like, that's just so limited.
Fun.
Well, so I think because Leigh Bardugo's books ever since then pretty much have been multiple perspectives, because like King of Scars, even though it's supposed to be the Nikolai series, has 3 perspectives, and obviously the Six of Crows has 6 perspectives in each of the books. So like she obviously like was like, okay, we can't be stuck in one mealy mouth milk toast character's head for an entire trilogy because people will hate it.
Yeah.
Right.
But seriously.
And I also think like they're gonna like age up, or at least like have like a more mature tone to the series to kind of match like the tone with like Six of Crows, since that's a little more mature tone.
I think so, because this is so like what was it, like earlier 2010s YA, like just very not my favorite. I think I'm absolutely gonna like the show better.
Well, like, and going back to like Mal dying but then not dying, like I feel like I don't even mind if at the end of in particular, a sort of more like heroic happy YA series, that at the end that your heroes all survive, but then also don't fake kill them. Like either kill them and they're dead and that's sad and we're doing this, or they somehow all make it through by the skin of their teeth but they survived. Like, or they almost died but they didn't die. But don't make them die and then not die. Like I hate that more than anything.
Freaking Court of Wings and Ruin.
Exactly like that.
I do agree. So what did you all think of some of these side characters like Zoya, Jenya, some of those characters? Did you have any other thoughts on them after reading the rest of the series?
I mean, I like Zoya. She was like a biatch at first, obviously, but I feel like I kind of wish we had gotten a little bit more of like, we got a little bit of other people's like backstories, or like a little bit of insight into like why they are the way they are. And I wish we'd gotten like a little bit more of some of them.
A lot more of Zoya in King of Scars. And honestly, King of Scars, like the parts that shine are Nina's part and Zoya's part. Like the Nikolai part, you're like, I know this is the Nikolai book, but like Nikolai is kind of a drag.
Oh no. This is why I'm scared to read this series.
But read it for Zoya.
Honestly, like I didn't remember Zoya too much from the original trilogy, but when I read King of Scars, like I was a firm fan of Zoya. Like she was a standout character in that book for me. So I would read it just for her. I'm excited to reread that one. But yeah, I also was not the biggest fan of some of like the side characters just not getting a whole lot of time. We lost Jashana for a second.
But Jashana is Elle now.
Oh my gosh. Her little photo.
I'm so confused. I was like...
Yeah, I thought Jenya was very much kind of pushed to the side by the end of this.
Well, I remembered her being a bigger part of it just because there's so much merch with the I am ruination quote, because it is a pretty baller quote,
Yes,
but it's also like that's like her only moment, and you're like, that's an excellent moment, but that's also it. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah, I was surprised that we didn't have more Jenya, because I feel like I remembered her having a bigger role. But I did like that quote. That was a good quote. I read that and was like, dang, I forgot about that quote. That was a really good one.
Just in general, the series, like, I feel like the quotable quotes, they sound like they come from better books than they are. Like, there's a lot of like those quotes. I'm just like, those are great quotes. And then when you see them in the scene, you're like, oh, yeah.
All are making me really reconsider my rating.
Hilarious.
Let's see what
I just realized that when I put my camera off, I think I'm still logged in for the World Hoppers screen yard. That's right.
Because we saw Luna and we were like,
Luna.
Yeah, that's definitely Luna.
Jen is my favorite.
Yeah,
Martin said that they're making the show more mature.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think that
it certainly looks like it.
Yeah, from the trailers and everything.
And I think that when I first saw just like the still, the picture where they're all leaning, when I saw that, and I just like saw a still image of the actor Archie Renault, who's playing Mal, and like just the still image of him, I was like, he looks so dull, and so like I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. But now that I've seen him in the trailers, like in action, like actually speaking, like I'm like, okay, no, I'm on board. Yeah, I like
he
this
looks
Mal.
Great. Mm-hmm. Like I was shocked when I saw the first trailer. I was like, "Oh my god, Mal!"
And he's just like he's a lot more like charismatic, like in action, than he is just like sitting there, with his like characteristically cool boy with arms on knees, which irks Alan.
I was honestly surprised. Maybe I'm a judgmental, whatever, but I was like, this is the guy that all the ladies are always like, oh my god. Mal, I was like, this guy, all right, I guess. Maybe he's just not my type. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why like when I just saw the picture, I was just like, he doesn't look like a heartthrob, and he doesn't look very interesting, and he doesn't look very like, he's gonna be a leader of men and go and fight stuff. He just looks like some guy. But like seeing him like just kind of like his kind of like fierce expressions and the way like he moves in the show, and like seeing like him scream Alina's name and run, I'm just like, okay.
I'll reserve my judgment until I actually see it.
And the two of them look good like together. Like they seem to like feel like they know each other. Like you really get the feeling like they've known each other for a long time.
Yeah,
they do.
They do for sure.
I'm like trying to think what else about the actual Ruin and Rising book I wanted to say, but I think it was like really that just the epic showdown at the end was a little bit disappointing, and that I like Mal by the end.
Well, I feel like Ruin and Rising is the longest, isn't it? Like they all got progressively longer. Yeah. And I know that, like, I think you guys and I think a lot of people say that they find that Siege and Storm drags. I honestly think Ruin and Rising drags a lot more than Siege and Storm. But I'm always the weird one that likes second books the best. No one ever agrees with me. But Ruin and Rising, I feel like it's a lot of like, okay, like we're going after another animal to get another thing. So like we've seen this with the stag and with the sea whip already. So it's just like that again. Nikolai has another cool invention. Okay, we've seen that. It's happening again. The Darkling appears to her. This is not new. We have seen you guys like telepathic Raylo like chats before. This is not new. Like you tricked her because you were like an asshole. This is not new. Like it all just felt very samey. And I'm just like, can we like kill the Darkling?
I can see that. What is your ranking of the books? From favorite to least favorite?
I think the third is my favorite.
Third is your favorite?
Yeah.
So when I first read them, I think it was, I did 4 stars, 4 stars, and 5. But again, the 5 was like a, Melina is endgame! 5 stars. Because I was like, this is kind of spoilery, but I think by now everyone already knows The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. I was like weeping the entire time I was reading Clockwork Princess because I was convinced that my ship was not the ship. And I was, every time they were together, I was like, but they're not going to end up together. And then they did end up together. So if I reread it, I'd probably be emotional, but I'd be like, but this is fine. It's going to be fine. They're going to be fine.
Golly, that epilogue, I've never cried harder.
So that was me with like Mal and Alina. I was like, they're not going to end up together. He's going to die for her. She's just going to go marry Nikolai. Oh no. And now like I reread it and I was just like, I mean, they're going to be together. So like, that's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah. So the third wasn't your favorite this time around, it sounds like.
Well, yeah, because now I actually paid attention to the book instead of being like, and I was like, actually, none of this makes any sense. Just kidding.
So would you say the second is your favorite, Liana, for Nikolai?
Probably, yeah. So I think overall, I think the first and second are on par, and then it's just the added bonus of having Nikolai around, like, puts it up.
Yeah.
He is way better. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the first time I rated them all like 3 to 3.5, and this time I rated 3, and then 3.25. Yeah, and I'm gonna unhaul them. Sorry.
Oh no.
I'm never gonna read them ever again.
Yeah.
I know I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, just it's not gonna happen. So,
but are you gonna read Six of Crows?
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
Upon this reread, I will say I think the second surprised me the most with how different I felt from first read to this read. I definitely I think I remember that one very clearly being my least favorite from the first read. And this time I was like, that was so fun. Like, why was that my least favorite? I still think I like the first one the most, just to get introduced to everything and the world. And I just liked I liked being in the little palace and the darkling moments.
I feel like the first one would be my favorite if it had Nikolai in it. Like, that's the only thing it's missing. It's just like, if we also got Nikolai in there, then like
yeah.
Keeping it out. Yeah. It out a bit. Yeah, I feel like mine would be 3, 2, 1. Okay. In like order of my favorite. Yeah. But I don't like love.
But you seem like, I was like, but your like reactions like IRL to them, like you look more upset and dissatisfied now than you did with the first 2 books, even though this is your favorite.
But I mean, my favorite, like, you know what I mean? It's not like I gave this one like 4.5 and the other one's 3. It's like marginally. I think because now I'm just like, I'm done with it. I'm done with it. And so like the trilogy as a whole, I just feel super lukewarm about, you know? Yeah. Just like, it was fine. It was fine.
It is quite dated.
Yeah.
Live after watching the show, it'd be great to see. So we are actually planning on doing a World Hoppers video for this. So stay tuned because this is in the plans.
Are they releasing it all at once? Like the whole first season?
No, I think so.
So that's
I think Netflix always does, don't they?
Yeah. They've done a couple shows where they do weekly, don't they? Or am I?
Oh, really?
I don't know. Maybe I might be making things up.
They better not. I can't do week to week on this.
No, I want to marathon it ASAP.
Yes.
Oh, wait, did they maybe do that with Stranger Things where they like released like 3 at once and then it was 1-1-1? Did they?
I don't know. I never watched Stranger Things.
I think it was all at once. I don't remember.
I think so too, but like I'm questioning my recollection now because I often when they do stuff like that, I just wait because I'm like, I want to binge it. So I'll just wait until it is all out and then I'll watch it all.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like they released it all at once, but I don't remember. And I did love Stranger Things. It will be released on Netflix.
Yep. On the 23rd, right?
Yeah. Okay. So next Friday.
Oh my God, this is an Apparat.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about him.
Not even just him as a character. I mean, him as a character, definitely. But I feel like his character development. I was like, what is the point? I feel like the point of him was just like vague, mysterious threats. Like that was his whole purpose in the entire.
Well, I think he like represented she wanted to bring up the conversation of like fanaticism and of like weaponizing people's faith. And so he's just like emblematic of the concept of weaponizing people's faith. He's just like the figurehead for that. So we could have that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just feel like it was, I mean, I guess it's like my issue with the whole trilogy in general And I mean, because it's like
he is your issue with the entire trilogy.
What?
He is your issue with the entire
No. He's not my issue. The issue of like it being so surface level, like that conversation is just like, oh, vague, mysterious, controlling religious guy. And I'm like, what are his actual motives? I want to know more about him and like what he's doing behind the scenes and like what his end goal is and like what's going on with him. And it's just like, he's mysterious and controlling. But
well, I mean, anytime like I'm reading an old YA series like this, I have to remind myself that like either I need to go with it or not read it. But like every time you have like the actual prince going and doing a mission, I'm like, you would never send the actual royalty on the mission. They have people for that. Like they wouldn't be doing this.
There you go. Stranger Things was released all at once.
That's awesome. A comment about Rasputin that they did. Exactly, he was Rasputin. Oh man,
that is funny. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I had a lot of fun with this series, but I see the flaws. Like, I get it. It's just, I think I am a little too lenient with my ratings for it on Goodreads. But
it's your ratings. You can,
I'm just
whatever you want with them.
Time. It was really fun.
I mean, it's fair to have an emotional 5-star because I think I gave Clockwork Princess 5 stars because any book that makes me cry like the entire time, I'm like, okay, well, you get 5.
Yes, that was a 5-star for sure. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's a fun one. I don't know. I'll continue to recommend it to folks, but it definitely like feels young. Like at times it almost read like middle grade with how like simple and straightforward and like.
Well, even the fact that like the way, I mean, there is one moment that's like more of an illusion than actually it being like sexy times, but like even Mal and Alina's like their like romance is very much like childhood crush where like, I love you, hold hands. Like, it's very that. Like the most like sexual part of it is the Darkling, but even then it's more just like he represents like adult temptation and the potential for more sexual feelings as opposed to like actually it's more like when a 13-year-old is like, I have a vagina that feels stuff, like, oh, this makes me feel dark. Like, like that's
oh my God. Yeah, basically it's all very like PG.
Yes.
Like at the most.
Yes. And I guess Mal and Alina in this book did have a little
a very fade to black.
Fade to black, yes.
Like the end of the chapter was like, and they had a lovely night together, and then like we the end of the chapter or whatever.
Lovely, great. Yeah. So funny. Yeah, it was younger than I remembered, but
same.
So fun. But I am curious now to reread Six of Crows. Because
I think Six of Crows always was like, I feel like she like, I don't want to say learn from her mistakes, but just kind of like took the experience of writing these books and was like, what did I do well? What did I not do so well? And like, obviously characters is a big deal. So I think she intentionally made that duology is very character focused. Like, in fact, like the plot takes a back seat to just general character development, character flashbacks, character interactions. Like it's all a character-y book. And that's clearly her strong suit. So like she leaned into that.
Yeah.
I feel like I might reread it just kind of out of curiosity. But I remember just feeling like kind of when I finished the duology, I remember just feeling kind of like annoyed and feeling
you should have been weeping. Why were you not weeping?
I'm heartless.
You are.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do remember though that I liked the characters, and obviously like we have all the different POVs, so we get like more in depth with all these characters.
And none of them are as boring as Alina.
Yeah, definitely. But I just remember the plot annoying the crap out of me. Like, I was exhausted.
And usually like Urza's saying, I don't know that I would typically recommend like starting a new series in the same world if you didn't like the original series in that world. But there are so many people out there who really don't like the Grisha trilogy that love Six of Crows.
Yeah. I definitely would still recommend it.
Yeah.
It's also like totally fine to start with Six of Crows. Like when it comes to the First Law and people are like, can I read the new First Law trilogy? And I'm like, you can, like you
But
can, but I really wouldn't recommend it. Whereas with Six of Crows, I'm like, absolutely. If you have no interest in the Grisha trilogy, don't read it. Start with Six of Crows. Like they're like tangentially connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely is. It's better. Like the tone of it is different.
Yeah.
Like we said, you get more in depth with all these actually interesting characters.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah,
And
I
yeah.
think I will reread it, but I don't own it now, so I'll have to get it from the library. But to see if the plot annoys me less. Yeah, I unhauled that. Sorry.
I own like 4 copies.
Yay, I hope you like it, Kristen.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, character stories. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So I would still recommend, even if you don't like Grisha, give Six of Crows a try, because
I would too.
so many people love it.
And also, like, I'm not gonna say it's like perfect, but I feel like so in the Grisha trilogy, I feel like in the first book, like Grisha magic, like kind of if there's rules, it's kind of makes sense. Like I see kind of like the system here, like and it's not really breaking its rules like too much or even at all. The second book, you're like, that's a little pushing the bounds of like not breaking your own rules. Like it's getting a little amorphous in terms of what is possible. And the third book is just balls to the wall. Stuff happens because magic. And you're like, oh no. But like the Six of Crows duology is so character focused, and magic is even less a part of it. Cause like there's a couple magic users in it, but they're like, what they can do is very limited. And like, it's not like big exploding magic apocalypse that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like it's very
not
not
like sun summoners.
yeah. So I'm not constantly annoyed being like, how is that supposed to work? Cause it's like really not even about that.
Yeah. Right.
It's a much smaller part.
Yeah, exactly. That is so not the focus at all, like it is in this trilogy.
And when they do use it, it's like one of the tools in their arsenal. They're like, we've got weapons, we've got firepower. You can do a bit of a Grisha thing, so use that too. Like, we'll make this happen.
Totally.
Basically.
Yes, I agree. Well, I mean, you guys have any other thoughts? I'm like kind of out of them.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited now for the show.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the show.
What they do with it, and I definitely think I'm going to like the show more than I like the book series. This will be one of my book to TV adaptations that I prefer the adaptation, I think.
Yes.
It'll be so funny if Jashana ends up hating the show and liking the books better.
I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah.
I don't foresee it happening. So.
And then for those of you who are looking forward to the show, I know we do have a World Hoppers live show this coming Wednesday to do like predictions about the show before it releases. So if I have information, I'll link it down below. But I will, so if you are wanting to join for that, that will be Wednesday. I don't know if we have an exact time yet. I think it'll probably be like evening time after work for a lot of us. So yeah, make sure to join for that. But I'm super excited, and thank you guys so much for doing this read along. This was a blast. I'm so glad we did this. Yeah, and unfortunately, it sounds like rereading the series kind of lowered some ratings, but at least we have some fresh knowledge going into the show.
Yep.
Oh, maybe that would be.
He'll definitely be there in spirit at the very least.
Yes, he'll probably be in the chat trolling us. Yeah.
Most likely.
So yeah, thank you so much for joining. Thank you all for joining the stream. And again, Jashana and Liena's channels will be linked down below, as well as the first 2 live shows if you want to see more thoughts from us on those. So thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Have
thank
a good
you guys
one.
for doing this too.
Bye.